Coming to you live. We are in effect in the house. How are you this fine evening? What's going on in the world of professional basketball? Well, plenty of things are going on in the world of professional basketball, right? This is the best part of the season, man. The best part of the season right here. The season is already, the NBA season is already dope, but I mean, playoffs start in 2 weeks. Oh, Jillian, dear, how are you? Matt, what's up? Cameron, what's up, brother? The season is already dope, right? So we're getting down to the nitty gritty. Seeding, not just seeding, but not just matchups, but possible upsets and matchups that we want to see, as opposed to matchups that, not just matchups that we want to see, matchups that we want to see in addition to matchups that we might get. This is absolutely awesome, man. Absolutely. What up, Darrell? How you doing, brother? So this is pretty historical, man. I'm looking at the Eastern Conference race, and I can't remember. I can only remember the Eastern Conference race being this tight in the 98-99 season, right? In the 98-99 season, this was the tightest that I can remember the Eastern Conference race being. We had 3 teams that had the best record in the Eastern Conference. So with the exception of then, we're talking about now where we got 4 teams separated by 2.5 games for the number 1 spot. This late in the season, usually when we get this late into the season, it's been established who the best team in the East is. Most of the time in the Eastern Conference, when we get this late in the season, especially in the West, but in the East, we've already established, who's the best team in the Eastern Conference. We've already established that by this time in the season. Well, we basically got 4 games left between these teams, and with that, I'm looking at these units, man, and you could very well go from one. You have a bad week, and you could go from being the 1 seed to the 4 seed in 4 days. That could happen. That can absolutely happen. And it's one of the best it's one of the best regular season runs that I've seen. Absolutely awesome, man. I am very much digging the Miami Heat. I had them in 4th place before the season started. I'm looking at their unit, and Jimmy Butler showed me 2 years ago that I could get us there. Could we win it? I don't know about that, but I could definitely get us there. No doubt about that. It could be on the strength of me. I could get us there. He showed that he could do that. So that question doesn't need to be answered with the Miami Heat because they got a guy who can get them there. He proved that he could do it. So that's not a question, right? Philadelphia. The question that we have with the Philadelphia 76ers, can James Harden get it done in the playoffs? Now, I'm hearing a lot of logic that James Harden is on the other side of his prime, and I believe that he is. I absolutely believe that he is. I think that he's got 2 more seasons at this level before he starts to slow down. I don't think that he has much more after this, after the next 2 more seasons. So this window, this championship window that the Philadelphia 76ers may have, it's not open, it's cracked. Because Joel Embiid has improved that he can get you that far in the Eastern Conference, in the Eastern Conference neither. Now, we already saw, once again, I go back to Jimmy Butler. They take Toronto to 7 games in the East semifinals and lose in overtime. So what does that tell you about them? That, this is a good team here. I would like to have seen them come back, right? I would have liked to have seen them come back and give it another run, but They ended up breaking up that unit. So this Philadelphia team, I hear a lot of logic about, Thibault doesn't score, and so what? Thibault doesn't score. That's what you got James Harden for. That's what you got Maxey for. That's what you got Joel Embiid for. That's what you got Tobias Harris for. That's what you got Shake Milton for. That's what you got all these other guys for. Thibault is a lockdown defender. He is not a liability. He can make a shot, unlike Andre Roberson when he was in Oklahoma City. Thibault can actually make a shot, but his ability to defend overshadows that. And you don't need him to do that. He's Ben Simmons without the playmaking and the scope. So that's neither here nor there with him. Now, I like the way Philly is constructed. The question is can James Harden and Joel Embiid get it done in the playoffs? This thing looks great on paper. It looks absolutely fantastic on paper. But can they get it done in the playoffs? And I'm not 100% sure that they can, because they haven't proven that they can on their respective teams. James Harden was in Houston for 8 seasons. Mike D'Antoni gave him the ball and basically told everybody else to clear out, and he's going to make plays for everybody else, and he's going to score the basketball. Here's the problem with that. The problem with that is the defense can just load up right in front of you. It's not that difficult to guard. It is not that difficult to guard at all. So I'm not buying the logic that, well, he needed help. He was on a team that won 65 games. So I'm not buying that neither. Not buying that. So they have to prove that they could get it done in the playoffs. Well, I've already told you that the team to beat in the Eastern Conference is the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm so digging that acquisition of Serge. I really thought that Serge was washed, to be honest with you. I thought Serge was over. I'll be lying if I said that I didn't think Serge was any good, because I didn't. I didn't think he was. I thought he was over. And the fact that he's gotten with this unit and he's fit perfectly for what they're doing. Absolutely. Now they got Brook Lopez back and they got Connaughton back into the lineup. Grayson Allen may have the simplest job in the NBA. Him and Tyler Hero. The simplest / best job in the game. All I need you to Grayson Allen, all I need you to do is make open shots. That's it. On offense, I just need you to make open shots. You don't got to play make. You don't have to do anything else. Just make open shots. Number 34, he takes care of all the playmaking. He takes the load of scoring. He takes all of that on. All you got to do is make open shots. That's it. Absolutely. So, and then we have the Boston Celtics. I can go on for days about Giannis. And then we have the Boston Celtics, who I am so happy about, but I'm so disappointed about too. Because Jason Tatum is turning into who I thought he was going to be. He's absolutely turning into that guy. And in the process of him turning into that guy, they got shortchanged, right? They got shortchanged simply because Robbie Williams got hurt. If Robbie Williams isn't hurt, I like the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern Conference Championship. I'm loving that matchup. I don't like that matchup. I love that matchup. If he doesn't get hurt, I'm so loving that matchup. If he doesn't get hurt, I think that they can win a first-round playoff series without him. I don't think that they can get further than that without him. I think that's as far as they go. That's as far as they go without him. And I'm really interested more than anything to see how this Eastern Conference race actually shapes out, these top 4 teams. That's the thing that I'm interested in seeing the most. So I'm also interested in the league MVP. I've never been more excited about a league MVP since maybe Jordan and Malone in 98 or 97. This is the most excited I've been about a league MVP since then, because I wasn't sure who was going to win it. I wasn't. I was not sure who was going to win it. I was not. I'd be lying to you if I said that I was, but I wasn't sure if they were going to win it. So who was going to win it? I mean, and now this thing is going to come down to literally the last week of the season. It's going to come down to the last week of the season between Joel Embiid, Giannis, Joker, who I think I'm having a really difficult time with him being in it, but I understand it because there is precedent. Like I can't talk out of I can't talk out of both sides of my mouth. I can't tell you that I can't tell you that Joker shouldn't be in the league MVP conversation and then praise Jabbar in the 75-76 season. I can't do that. But what I am going to say is, going forward, if this is going to be the logic, if this is going to be the logic, we got to stick to it. Now, when I think about Joker being the league MVP and Jabbar being the league MVP in the 75-76 season, the reason why it was that way is because it was unprecedented. You know, what Jabbar had done that season, that had never been done before. And nobody else was close. Nobody. The problem that I'm having with Joker is I'm looking at this unit, man, and I'm having a difficult time with you selling me that a dude whose team is 15, almost 16 games out of first place should be the league MVP. I'm just having a difficult time with that, man. That's not to say that he's not, because on the flip side to that, Jabbar's team didn't make the playoffs the year he won the league MVP. His team didn't make the playoffs. Now, there weren't 8 teams making the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. It was only 6. It was only 6. So I can't. Here's what I can't do. I can't have it both ways. If you're giving it to Joker and you taking winning off the table, then I can't discount him. I can't discount him if I'm doing the same thing with Jabbar in 75-76. I can't. If I'm praising Jabbar in 75-76, then I got to do the same thing with Joker. But here's the problem with that. The problem with that is that the NBA, they had a precedent. They didn't have a precedent back then. They have that now. They absolutely have that now. And we've already seen that movie where you taking winning out of the equation. We've already seen that movie. So if winning doesn't matter, then that means we got to stick to that. We got to keep doing that. That's not something that we could just do for one season, because next season, what I can't have, is I can't have the Clippers. I can't have the Clippers in first place and Leonard goes 27-7-6 and he wins the league MVP going away. Meanwhile, Luka is 29-11-9 and he leads the league in PER and offensive win shares and offensive plus minus. I can't have them and he don't sniff the league and he doesn't sniff the league MVP. I just can't. I can't do that, man. So I know that I'm just you can't convince me. You cannot convince me that a guy who is 27 or 26, 14, and 8 is more valuable on a team that's in 6th place to a dude who's 30, 12, and 6 on a team that's a half a game out of 2nd place. You can't convince me of that. Even though Jabbar did what he did, and I can't fight that. I can't fight it. I wish I could fight it, but I can't. But you can't convince me that Joker is more valuable to his team's success than Giannis is. You can't convince me of it. You can't. Nope, Jillian, I'm not hearing that. And you know why I'm not listening to that logic, Jillian? I'm not listening to that logic simply because when the Western Conference was doing what they were doing, when the Western Conference were doing what they were doing, and the best team had the same record, and the best team in the Eastern Conference had the same record as the team in third place, you wasn't making a comparison then. So I'm not trying to hear that. Nope. I'm not listening to that. I'm not trying to hear that at all. Kareem did finish 2 games under 500. Yes, he did. And remember, only 6 teams went to the playoffs that year. It wasn't 8. So his team would have went to the playoffs. His team would have actually went to the playoffs if it was today. So that's my afternoon rant. That's my evening rant. Ascar, you asked the question of what did Kareem do that was so special that season? Sure. You want to know? No problem. And no, we don't need a co-MVP. No, we do not. Ascar, you want to know what Kareem did that was so special that season? He led the league in minutes. He led the league in PER. He was second in the league in scoring. He led the league in rebounding. He led the league in blocks. He led the league in offensive win shares. He led the league in defensive win shares. He led the league in overall win shares. He led the league in win shares per 48 minutes. He led the league in offensive plus minus. He led the league in defensive plus minus. He led the league in overall plus minus. Every category. Every one of them. All of them. Which is essentially what Joker doing today, except for the defensive win shares. Joker's not doing that. No. What'd you say, Hollywood? I don't know if he deserved it, but when I look at what Joker is doing this season, just so you know, nobody was close to Jabbar, to what Jabbar did. When I'm looking at what Joker doing, everything Joker is in first place in, Giannis is right behind him. Not only is Giannis right behind him, my team got a better record. My team has got a better record. Everything that Joker is in first place in, Giannis is right behind him. Everything. Bob McAdoo led the league in scoring that year. Scott, Milwaukee got a better record than Philly. Why you keep saying, give me Philly? It ain't like Philly got a better record than Milwaukee. They got the same record. Not only do they have the same record, he dominated Embiid the last time he saw him. Dominated him. Keyshawn, you're not selling me that without Murray. So what? By show of hands in here, does anybody care if you don't have this dude or you don't have that dude? That does not matter. It doesn't. It does not matter. Do you think that we would care? You think that the MVP committee would care if Giannis was in 5th place and he didn't have Middleton or he didn't have Drew Holiday? Nobody cares about that. That does not matter. We're going with what your crew look like on paper. Nobody cares about that. So no, absolutely not. No, it shouldn't go into context. No, it should not. And the reason why it shouldn't go into context is because it's not like he had him all season like he did last year. He didn't have him all year. So we don't know what Jamal Murray would have did this year. It ain't like Jamal Murray would have gotten to the lineup and he would have been 22, 23 a game this year. We don't know that. What we do know is what happened last year when he lost them in the middle of the season and he was able to keep them afloat. We do know that. We don't know anything else after that. Nothing. That's a good question, Irv. I can't tell you who that guy is. I'm thinking about, when I think about a lead guard, I'm thinking about a Rondo type, a floor general type, because it's not Marcus Smart. I don't think they can win it with him at the lead guard. I don't. I'm thinking of Rondo, a Kyle Lowry type. And he don't have to be a big scorer. He doesn't. He does not have to be a big scorer. Just somebody who is solid, because you're getting your buckets from Jaylen Brown, you're getting your buckets from Jason Tatum. White's coming off the bench and giving you quality buckets. So I do think Luka is being overlooked. I do think that. That tells you how tough the Eastern Conference is. It tells you how tough the Eastern Conference is. And it tells you how much of a wash the Western Conference is. When he has almost the same record as Giannis does in Milwaukee. Meanwhile, he almost 16 games out of first place. That means that in the Western Conference, y'all ain't close to the top of the team. Y'all ain't close to the top. Y'all not close. I don't think that. I think the Pacers. I think Boston is done dealing with the Pacers, because I think it was 2 years ago that the deal was on the table that Gordon Hayward was headed to Boston for. I'm thinking about the big fella. Why does his name escape me? His name escapes me. The big fella, shot block leader, Miles Turner. That's him. The deal was done for Miles Turner to go to Boston for Gordon Hayward straight up. Danny Ainge's gonna turn around and ask for Victor Oladipo too. You're gonna turn around and ask for Victor Oladipo. Come on, Danny. You know that that's not realistic. You know that that's not realistic. And this is before Victor Oladipo got hurt. You're gonna turn around and you want Miles Turner and Victor Oladipo. Come on, Danny. You ain't serious. You're not. You're not serious, man. You're not. Just say that you ain't interested. Just say that. I don't know if he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, Liam, but I do think that DeMar DeRozan, when his career is over, he's going to definitely be in the conversation for being a Hall of Famer. Yeah, no doubt. He did ask for another pick, and he asked for Victor Oladipo too. That's what put the kibosh on the deal. That's what put the kibosh on the deal. Guts, to be honest with you, I hope not. I hope not. To be honest with you, I do not want to see the Lakers in the playoffs. I don't. That's a bad team, yo. That is a bad team, and I do not want to see them in the playoffs. I just don't. I do not. How could that even? Well, Blue Bolt. Let me ask you a question, Because Blue Bowl, you asked me the question, does this season put LeBron out of the top 5 all time? So it takes one season to drop him out of the top 5 all time. So if that's true, then that means that he was right on the edge of the top 5. He wasn't even at the top of the top 5. That means that he was right on the inside looking out, and all he needed was one screw up, and that puts him right out. If Tim Hardaway is in the Hall of Fame, I'm 100% certain that Kevin Johnson is right behind him. No doubt. Because Kevin Johnson got similar numbers. Kevin Johnson was just as good, if not better, during his era. And he took his team to the finals. Took his team to the finals in the Western Conference. So, not even close to the same thing. I just have such a difficult time, man, with this league MVP. And I just go back and forth with myself because I'm really having an inner battle, because I can't say that what Jabbar was doing is awesome and then look at what Joker doing and go, yeah. Unless when I look at what Joker is doing, I go, what I have to factor in is somebody that's in MVP contention that's right behind Joker. Right behind him. So I have to address this really quick, guys. Hold on. What does winning have to do with skill? So let me ask you this question. What does skill have to do with winning? Or let me rephrase that. What does skill have to do with anything? What exactly is skill for? What are your skills used for? What are you using your skills for? I'm sorry. Ascar, one more time for the people in the cheap seat, so we clear. What are you using your skills for, Ascar? One more time for the people in the cheap seats. Is Joker and Embiid skillful? They absolutely are. And what are their skills? What is their production leading to? And not only what is their production leading to, how are they getting to that production? Isn't their skill set leading to that production? Or am I crazy? Also, so this is what I'd like to do, folks. Tell me that you're moving the goalpost without telling me you're moving the goalpost. But they're not winning when it matters the most. So which one is it? Do skills matter in winning or do they not? Yes or no? No, is LeBron skillful? He ain't winning this season. No, he's not. Has he won in the past? That's a good question. I'm asking you this question, so I'll ask you the question. Has he won in the past? Has he won in the past? Yes or no? No, because you said KD and Kyrie haven't won. No, they haven't. But LeBron has. LeBron has. But the difference between Kyrie and KD, they weren't together. So that's a terrible argument. That doesn't work, my man. Let's get back to the point. LeBron hasn't won. LeBron isn't winning this season, even though he's leading the league in scoring, and it hasn't led to him winning. But he did lead the league in scoring, and he did go to the Eastern Conference Championship. He was at the top of the league in scoring, and he won the NBA championship. Is that not correct? The fact that you argue in this, that skill and skill, production, and winning all don't go together. That's nuts to me. I'm trying to figure out what it is that you're looking at. How are you producing anything without skill? How? Can you explain that? That's what I'd like to know from you. How are you producing anything without skills? Forget this, because what you're doing is you're dancing around the question. How are you producing anything without skill? How? You arguing something completely different. Nobody said that these guys aren't skillful. What are you talking about? I'm trying to understand what your logic is, my man, because you arguing something completely different. Nobody said that these people aren't skillful. The question is what does it lead to? So these two together, since they've been together, what has it led to? That's the question. Winning does not equal skill. Yes, it does, my man, and you in the minority if you think that. So what does winning lead to? So what does winning equal? How do you win? How do you win? Because this argument that you're giving me is all whack. Iverson is skillful. Iverson won the league MVP, went to the NBA Finals. What are you talking about? Absolutely he did. Absolutely he did. So just because he didn't win the NBA championship, he won the league MVP. So that logic doesn't make sense at all. Not to mention, how are you winning? That's the question that needs to be asked. You still haven't given me a satisfactory answer on what leads to winning. What leads to winning, my man? Because all you're doing is giving me names. What leads to win? Everybody can't win. So what leads to winning? I'm all ears to hear this. What leads to winning? Teams. Okay. And teams lead. And how do teams lead to winning? What do they have to do to win? Right? Teams lead to winning. What do they have to do to win? Because I like to think that these teams that win, don't they produce? Right? Absolutely. Don't they produce? In order to win, you got to produce. Play well as a unit. Play well. You dancing. Stop dancing, my man. Get to the point. Get to the point. What do you have to do? Play well. And when you play well, what are you doing? You are producing. Is that correct? When you play well, what do? You produce, yes? Okay, so when you play well, you produce. So how are you, what is enabling you to produce? What is helping you produce? I don't understand how you don't understand this, my man. I don't. I'm having a difficult time with how you don't understand that. I don't. Chemistry does play a part in this study. Yes, it does. Because we do have to get on the same page and we do have to be a cohesive unit. Yes, we do. Chemistry does matter. Yes, that's a fact. Absolutely. Chemistry does matter. No doubt about that. Well, let me ask you this question. I'm glad you mentioned that. So, what did you define as skill? Because Kenny Smith was a great long ball shooter. Vernon Maxwell was a great scorer. Otis Thorpe, great board man, great defender. They had a great all-around team. And those guys collectively, with their skills, produced, along with Olajuwon, which is why they won. Yeah, around it. Yo, you ain't selling me no more of this because Kenny Smith absolutely is skilled. So Kenny Smith he sets a record in the NBA Finals and makes 7 threes. So he just woke up one day and hit 7 threes. So he doesn't know how to shoot until that one game in the NBA Finals. He doesn't know how to shoot at any point in his career. So what do you define as skill? You define Kyrie Irving as being skilled, being able to throw the ball between his legs. What does that lead to? Because I can tell you what it led to with Kenny Smith. It led to him winning the NBA championship. It led to him knocking down a bunch of shots. It led to them opening up the defense, opening up that offense. That's what it led to. Kenny Smith was an exceptional athlete. Kenny Smith wasn't a good athlete. He was an exceptional athlete. Kenny Smith was a great ball handler. Kenny Smith was a damn good passer. Kenny Smith had a season where he went 18-8. I'd like to think that 8 assists, I'm a pretty skilled passer. I'd like to think that, if that's the case. Maybe I'm bugging out, but a guy that averages 8 assists, I think he's a skilled passer. I'd very much like to think that. No doubt about that. So Kyrie is absolutely a champion. Nobody is questioning his ability. Nobody is questioning his skill set. What I'm questioning is them two together. What has it led to in the last 3 years? That's the question. That was my argument before. That still is my argument, and that will always be my argument. I don't care what's in your bag. What are you producing? And what is it leading to? I don't care how nice you are with the peel. I don't care how fast you run. What is it leading to? That's what I care about. If you can't give me a satisfactory answer on that, or when you tell me things like skill doesn't lead to winning, I can't have a conversation with you, my man, because you don't understand the game of basketball. You do not. You think James Harden is a cheat code? That's interesting. That's really interesting. That's really interesting right there. Why would you think that James Harden is a cheat code? Donovan Mitchell in Miami this summer? Wow. What would Miami have to give up to get Donovan Mitchell to the Miami Heat? I did not touch on South Carolina beating UConn, even though South Carolina was the #1 team in the country wire to wire. Don Staley know the game, and a lot of people will give you the logic that if you got the best team, it's not that difficult. Actually, it is. It really is, to be honest with you. You know, there's an old saying, my man, you know, anybody can train a secretary. You can screw them up too, though. So this is something that she could have botched. She could have definitely screwed this thing up. You know, she had the best player in the country. She had one of the top 5 point guards in the country. She had a damn good team, and she could have wrecked this thing, but she didn't. She did a great job with them. She did a great job with that team. Absolutely. I commend Dawn Staley. I absolutely commend her, and I commend Boston too. I'm looking at the kid from Iowa, Caitlin. I think Clark. I think that's her last name. I think she might be the best scorer in the country. But when I think about the big girl from Boston, from South Carolina, Boston, I don't know if I can pick anybody that I want on my team before her. I don't know if I could do that. So no, I don't think Embiid is the second most skilled center of all time. Jabbar was pretty skilled. Chamberlain was really skilled. Olajuwon was skilled. Shaq couldn't shoot the 3-ball, but Shaq was really skilled. I could beat current Jerry West. He's 80. I should be able to beat him one-on-one. He's 80. And I suck today, but I should be able to beat an 80-year-old. No doubt about that. A young team that we ain't talking about that much that I really dig watching. Yeah, Memphis. Yep, Memphis. But we talking about Memphis. But you talking about a team that we not talking about. That San Antonio team, man. I dig DeJounte Murray, yo. I'm loving everything about him. I'm not a huge Lonnie Walker fan. I'm warming up. Lonnie Walker is more to me like, I don't know if y'all ever watched The Wire, and when Barksdale went to jail and then Marlo showed up and I had to warm up to Marlo, but then after a while, I kind of got sucked into Marlo. That's kind of how I am with Lonnie Walker. I'm trying to get warmed up to him. I'm trying to get warmed up to him, but DeJounte Murray is absolutely. I'm a huge fan of him, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. My man. Guts, have you ever seen any of my my videos that I do on TikTok where I highlight Rudy asking for the ball and Rudy being open and how they just completely shrug him off, and the fact that he could just be so much more utilized in that offense, but he's not nearly as much as he should be, and how it's affected his game. If there's plenty of times where I've seen Rudy, he's burying big guys underneath the basket, burying them, burying guys, burying smaller guys in the paint. And it's just a simple drop and a layup, and they don't get the ball to him. They don't get the basketball to him at all. And I think that this would open up their offense so much more. I keep hearing, Rudy is Rudy. Well, that logic would work with me had I not seen him on the Olympic team. Now I know that international basketball is different than the game in the NBA. What I do know also for a fact is when you rim run and you in the middle of the paint and you wide open, get a big man the ball. Give him the basketball. I'm not on the fence about that. I'm not thinking maybe possibly. When a guy is open and he's got an opportunity to score at a high percentage, you give him the ball, especially a big man, especially a big fella. And the fact that Rudy works the way he works to get open and he's being overlooked the way he is, I understand his frustration. I've heard that too. Gobert for Anthony Davis, straight up. I would love Rudy in Los Angeles. With LeBron James, he would take so much pressure off. This would be one of the first guys that James has had in his prime as a rim protector. James never really had a legit rim protector like that, with the exception of Anthony Davis. And when they both was healthy, you saw what happened. Well, they just signed him to an extension, so I don't think Rudy's going anywhere. I don't think that he would. Chris Bosh was not a rim protector. No, he wasn't. There's no way you're selling me that, Jules. Chris Bosh was not a rim protector. No, he was not. So let me rephrase my comment. If Rudy Gobert was in Los Angeles, this would be the first elite rim protector that James has ever had. Never had an elite rim protector. So I think that's true, Hester. And the question is how did we get here between him and Rudy? What's the problem between him and Rudy? How did we get here with Rudy and Donnie and Don Mitchell? Because I'm trying to figure out. Now, Ben Wallace was washed when James got him in 2008. He was washed. He wasn't the same dude. He was over when James got him. He was definitely, he was not Ben Wallace in Detroit 3 years, 4 years, 5 years ago. He was over. Not even close to the same dude. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So close this. There we go. I think it's interesting how KD said that his knee injury derailed this season, the Nets season, which I think he's right. Before he got hurt, they were rolling. I don't know if, I did hear him say that, and I thought it was interesting. I did hear him say that he thought that his team season was derailed because of his knee injury and him missing almost 2 months. That did throw that. I think they was in second place when he got hurt. I think they was in second place when he went out the lineup, and they went from second place to the play-in tournament, which there's a realistic possibility that the Nets, they in the play-in tournament. They're a lot for the play-in tournament, but there's a realistic possibility that they might not make the playoffs. Making the play-in tournament and making the playoffs is something completely different. And there's a realistic possibility that they don't make the playoffs. So I've seen a couple of JJ Redick's podcasts. He's had some guys on there that are really smart. JJ Redick's a really smart dude. Absolutely, he is. Liam, where are the Raptors in this? Where are the Raptors in this playoff race right now? As of right now, what are they? 5th seed? They've already exceeded expectation, because I don't think that there's anybody that realistically thought that the Raptors were a top 16 in the Eastern Conference. I had them on the outside looking in of the playoff picture. I did not have them at the top. I did not have them as a top 8 seed. I had them on the outside looking in. So if the season ended today, I think that they got to play the Bulls in the first round. And I think that they would give the Bulls hell. I do. I think that they would give the Bulls hell. I think that the Bulls could beat them, but I think that they would give the Bulls hell. I do. That's not ridiculous right there at all, Darrell. I already said, I've told you before how I feel about Zion. If I can get 5 productive seasons out of him, I don't know why they're holding on to him in terms of keeping him out the lineup, because he's gonna walk. So to not put him out there and to show everybody what he could do, so he could be good trade bait, I think that moves mountains, man. No, he's not, OG. A dude that said Giannis isn't a top 3 player in the league. I ain't buying that. What are you talking about, Guts? I don't know what you mean. I don't know exactly what it is you mean. Mr. Payne, what's up, brother? How you doing? I thought that the Bulls would have to see the Celtics in the first round, and I thought that the Celtics could beat them. To see Toronto beat the Bulls, what that would do for Toronto is that would give them more hope that we could be right back in the middle of it again. Because when I think about Toronto as a championship team, and I think about how that team was constructed, after the 20 season, when Leonard, after they won it in the 18-19 season, and then in the 20 season, when they lost Leonard, that team started to go the other way. But I can't discount the job that Nick Nurse is doing with that unit. Are they a number one away from really challenging for the Eastern Conference? They're a lot better than what I thought they were going to be. A lot better than what I thought they were going to be. And when I look at them against the Bulls, I don't know if they could beat the Bulls, even if Lonzo isn't healthy, because Kobe White steps in for them, and I think that he could handle himself against Van Fleet. I absolutely believe that. But with that being said, I don't know how far the Toronto Raptors can go. I really don't. I wish I could tell you that I know that this team is at minimum a semifinals team. This team is a first round team. Because I watched them I don't think that they better than Milwaukee. I don't think they better than Miami. I don't think that they better than Philadelphia. And I don't think that they better than Boston. I don't. I do not. So in a 7-game series, who do I trust more, Kobe or Olajuwon? Olajuwon? Yeah, well, I didn't know that, Jillian. To be honest with you, I did not know that he said that Giannis is not a top 3 player, because I'm thinking to myself, what are you looking at? Because JJ Redick is one of those guys that I like to think that he's a really smart guy. But for him to say that Giannis is not a top 3 player in the game today, what are you looking at? What are you looking at that I'm missing? Because I think he's the best player on the planet. And I said that before the season started, and I stand on that. Who's your top 10 all-time, Brady? Embiid, KD, Joker. Embiid said that's disrespectful. And it absolutely is. You can keep saying it. You can absolutely keep saying it, but I think Giannis is the best player on the planet. And I think that we're here now. There's a series of events that led up to him being the best player on the planet. He didn't just become the best player on the planet this year. There was a series of events that led up to that. A sneaky contender. I don't think that there's any sneaky contenders, man. I think that the only team that I saw that I see this season is Memphis, that could be this year's Atlanta. Memphis can be this year's Atlanta. But other than that, I don't see any sneaky contenders. No. Yeah, I did hear about that, Jillian. Yeah, I did. I did hear about that. Nobody, Darrell. Nobody. You got to see Luka do it for a lot of years, man. And he's if Luka were to continue on the pace that, I mean, we talking about a dude, he was first team All NBA last season. I think he's gonna be first team All NBA again this season. He was first team All NBA 2 years ago, so he's been in the league 4 years. 3 of the last 4 years, he's been first team All NBA. So if he continues at this pace and he keeps doing what he's doing, I think that conversation will get louder. Yes, it will. Here's the thing, Darrell. My question, and that's what they're doing. They're proving a lot of people wrong, and I'm not sure that they can play. Because when the playoffs start, I mean, you know this as well as I do. When the playoffs start, schemes are different, and we've seen Luka play at a high level in the playoffs. We have. The question is, can he raise those other guys' level of play in the playoffs? And as a 5th seed, or as what are they? I think they're the 3rd seed. So they'd have to see Denver in round 1. No, they wouldn't, because Denver is the 5th seed. Minnesota? I think they'd have to see Minnesota in round 1. I think they could beat Minnesota. Yeah, I do think that they could beat Minnesota. I think Utah's dropped to 5. I'll tell you right now. We can get to the bottom of this right now. No doubt. I'll get to the bottom of this for you right now. So Phoenix is 1, Memphis is 2, the Warriors are 3, Dallas is 4, Denver is 5. They'll have a difficult time with Denver. Utah is 6, so Utah's got to see Golden State in the first round. Minnie is 7, Clippers are 8, Pels are 9, Spurs are 10. Okay. Yeah. I just think that Utah team, man, with what they've been doing, I think that it's time to move in a different direction with Quinn Snyder. No, Eric, I don't think that they could beat this. I don't think that they could beat Phoenix in a 7-game series. And I am having a very difficult time betting against LeBron James. I look at that team, and that's a disjointed unit that's been that way the entire season. And I'm having a difficult time believing that once the playoffs start, it's going to be completely different, and they're just going to turn it on. No. I'm not buying that at all. I did see that, Jillian. I did see that he may be the coaching candidate for the Lakers, which I'm actually liking it. I am actually liking it, and the reason why I'm liking it is because I think that there needs to be a new voice in Utah. I think that they need a new voice in Utah. The Lakers could not beat the Spurs, and I'm willing to, and I'm actually willing to put some jack on that. And like I said, I'm a James fan. I'm a huge James fan. I would love Rudy in Toronto. Oh my God, I would love Rudy in Toronto. Love him. It's depending on what the Toronto Raptors would have to give up to get him. What would they have to give up to get him in Toronto? Oh, I would love him in Toronto. Julian, there's no way you equating this year's Laker team to the 2018 Cavs. What he did 4 years ago with that 2018, 5 years ago with that 2018 team, come on, man. That's not close to the same thing what's going on right now. That Cavs team, actually, when I think about it, that Cavs team was I don't think that they were as bad as this Laker team. Even though James did say it, there was a point during the season where James did say, quote, I don't think we should be on TV anymore. I don't think we should be on TV anymore. Because that was a bad Laker team. I mean, that was a bad Cavs team. They flipped the roster in the summer of 17, then flipped it again at the trade deadline in February of 18, and he still took that team to the NBA Finals. Now, that's 4 years ago. 5 years ago, I'm sorry. I'm having a difficult time with James being able to do that again. Being as banged up as he is, being in and out of the lineup, I can't see that happening. No, I can't. If you could keep Siakam and Van Fleet and maybe OG, whatever else you want, knock yourself out. OG, what team wins a game 7? A 7-game series? That 2018 team. I think they mopped this Laker team. I don't think they beat this Laker team. I think they mopped them. Mopped them. Mm-hmm. That's simple, Eric. The freedom of movement is slowly getting pushed out. Add that to the fact that James Harden not only having to play through contact, if you've noticed, he's starting to break down. And the reason why he's starting to break down is because he never really took care of his body. He never really took care of his body. He's always been a guy who just showed up and rocked. Just showed up and rocked. And it worked for a long time. Well, he's getting to that age where it's not working like it did 5 years ago. It's not working like it did 4 years ago. Add that to the fact that you've cut his free throw production in half. Right? You've cut his free throw production in half. So now, not only are you not getting to the strike nearly as much, but you breaking down more often than you did in the past. That's a recipe for a guy going the other way. That's a recipe for a guy going the other way. Ray, you said the same thing last year, man. When the Lakers went into the playoffs with James hurt, or when James got healthy, or when AD was barely healthy, you said the same thing last year. And what happened? I'm not even talking about the Spurs. I don't want the Lakers in the playoffs because there's going to be this false narrative that these guys can make some noise and that these guys got a legit shot when they don't. That's a bad team. And as good as LeBron James is, and as good as he's always been, what you're going to ask him to do is you're going to ask him to perform miracles like he did in the past, and he's not going to be able to do it. He's not. He's not. Not with this unit. Simply because this unit is all over the place. In 2018, that unit actually started to come together not just once the playoffs started. When you got to the end of the season, when you got to the end of the regular season, they started to come together. They made all of those trades where they ended up moving Dwayne Wade, and they ended up moving Derrick Rose, and they ended up moving Shumpert, and they got Jeff Green, and they ended up moving Isaiah Thomas. So they ended up moving all of those guys, and then you get this new mixture of guys in. They started coming together around the end of the season. This Laker team, they're going the other way. I don't know if you noticed, my man, but they've lost their last 6 games. They lose to Phoenix tonight. That'll be 7 straight. I'm sorry, they lost to Denver. That's 7 straight. If they lose to Phoenix tonight, that's 8 straight. What team can you tell me? I'm all ears to hear this logic. What team can you tell me drop, I don't know, 9, 10 in a row, and you believed in them going into the playoffs. No, I don't think him getting swept hurts his legacy. He got swept in the finals in 17. I mean, he got swept in the finals in 18. He got swept in the finals in 07. So, no, it doesn't hurt his legacy because there's guys who've gotten swept in the playoffs. There are guys who have gotten swept. The all-time greats have gotten swept. So, no, I don't think it hurts his legacy. Mm-mm. Is it? Is my camera bugging? Oh, you said it's just you? Okay. What's the most unpopular opinion that I have? That Kobe Bryant in the top 10 player all time? I think he's at the top of the list. T. I look at this. I look at this seedings. What is Boston? They in third place. From 2 to 4, 2, 3, and 4 are only separated by 2 games. I'm sorry, a half a game. And all 3 of those teams are only 2 games out. That's it. That's it. That's it. So I think he will pass Jabbar all time as a Buck. Mm-hmm. I don't think that he has. I don't think that he's surpassed him yet, but I think that he very well can, no doubt. Well, what options do they have though when you talk about bringing back Russ? Russ on the books next season for $47 million. Now, in order for a team to get involved in that, straight up, that means that we got to give away a star. Who is giving the Lakers a star for Russ? And add that to the fact that if there's a team that's not willing to give up a star, then now that means that we got to get 2 other teams involved. So now it's going to be a 3-way trade. And now it's going to be something blockbuster. And that's going to cause a lot of commotion. Who's willing to do that for Russell Westbrook in the season that he's had? I think he's a guy that you stuck with right now. I don't think that he's somebody that you can dangle in front of teams and go, hey, look what, no. I don't think anybody's interested in Russell Westbrook at this point, or even at the draft, or even this summer. I don't think that there's anybody that's interested in him. Now, come next season, when you get to the trade deadline and he comes off the books at the end of the year, that's an expiring contract that looks really good. But as of right now, no. Mm-mm. Mm-hmm. The Lakers' option for next year is to just, you may have to move on from Anthony Davis. You may have to. Because we're talking 2 of the last 3 years, he's broken down. You've really only gotten 1 good year out of him, right? You gave away all of that for the 1 good year when they won the NBA championship. He broke down last year. He broke down this year, right? So 2 of the last 3 years, he's broken down. And you don't know what you're going to get next season. So what are their options? Their option is, who are we going to dangle Anthony Davis in front of to make them go, yo, you interested? You like this guy? Because Anthony Davis, when he's healthy, I think he's a top 5 player. So I think he's a valuable trade commodity. The problem is that his health. So moving Anthony Davis, what could you get for him? I can tell you right now what you can't get for him. So you can't call up Minnesota and ask for Cat because Minnesota's not interested. You can't call up Utah, and even though I would love Rudy in Los Angeles. You can't call up Utah and go, yo, Rudy for Anthony Davis straight up. I don't think that they're trying to hear that at all. Chicago, maybe? But what you would be giving up to get him in Chicago? Because I think he's an upgrade to Vooch, right? I think he's an upgrade to Vooch with DeRozan healthy, with Lonzo healthy, with Zach LaVine healthy, with Caruso. I think he's an upgrade to Vooch, and I think that trade works out for Chicago, especially if he's healthy. And what does Vooch give? Does Vooch make you guys better this year than you were next season than you were this season? Do you just want, because I'm looking at your trade options like John Collins and Capella, which, these are serviceable guys. It sounds to me like you just want AD gone. That's what it sounds like to me more than anything. Like, I'll take what I can get for him, but more than anything, I want AD gone. That's what it sounds like to me. What would they have to give up in Chicago to get Rudy? But Rudy would be basically in the same position because he's on a team now with dudes that don't pass. DeMar don't pass. Zach doesn't pass. Lonzo averaged 5 assists. He don't really pass. Not like that. Yo, Willingham, Utah is not doing that. They're not giving you Rudy Gobert. They're not giving him up for Anthony Davis. They're not doing that. So, yeah. All right, guys, it's about that time for me. It's that time of year. We got some good action. And we're doing it again tomorrow night. So I'll get with y'all soon. But until then, take it light, but take it.